Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are taking, well, the ultimate shortcut to getting really informed about the state of your own wallet. We've got the stack of sources here, all focused squarely on personal finance and identifying exactly where our money vanishes when we're not really paying attention.
That's right. We're specifically looking into the unseen ways Americans waste money. It's all about the psychology. How spending just becomes mindless. These links in the budget that happen almost automatically.
Yeah, and this deep dive isn't about making anyone feel guilty.
Not at all. It's about giving you actionable insights, moving you from that sort of unintentional spending towards, intentional control over your finances.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Before we dive into all the specifics, there's this one central statistic from our sources that is, honestly, it's genuinely stunning. The research shows the average American is spending somewhere between, $1,200 to $1,500 every single month?
Every month, yeah. On things that are categorized as, entirely unnecessary, just purely discretionary waste.
Wow. That number, $1,500, that's potentially life-changing money if you could harness it.
It really is transformative. Think about it. If you manage to redirect even, say, half of that amount consistently, maybe into a high-yield savings or an investment portfolio, the long-term impact is just enormous.
Okay.
So our mission today is pretty simple, really. We're going to lay out the blueprint for 8 major ways this waste tends to happen, and crucially, the practical solutions could come straight from the research, so you could, start plugging those leaks right away.
All right, let's do it. Where do we start? Maybe where most modern budgets seem to go to die.
Yeah.
The digital drain.
Exactly. We're talking about that automatic, often forgotten money subscriptions.
Oh, yeah. We all have the big ones, right? Netflix, Hulu, maybe Disney plus Ez. But then there's Amazon Prime, Audible, Spotify, plus all those specialized fitness apps, meal kits, meditation programs.
Don't forget the software licenses.
Yeah.
Things you signed up for with a free trial maybe years ago and just completely forgot exist.
Right, until you see that charge pop up again.
And what's really fascinating here, or maybe alarming, is how quickly the total cost of all these small recurring fees just balloons. The data we looked at shows that, on average, people are spending a staggering $200 per month.
$200 a month, just on subscriptions?
Yep, subscriptions they barely, if ever, actually use.
Wait, $200? Is that mostly from having tons of cheap apps adding up, or are people forgetting about, big annual fees that auto-renew?
It seems to be a bit of both, but it's predominantly the sheer number of services. The research suggests the cost gets masked because each individual price seems low. We rationalize paying $9.99 for this streaming service or $15 for that app.
Doesn't seem like much on its own.
Exactly. But by the time you've signed up for, say, 10 different things over the course of a year, you've basically created this ghost expenditure in your budget that adds up to serious cash. We're talking nearly $2,500 a year potentially.
Wow. Okay, so the fix. The sources must have a solution for this one.
They do. And it's deceptively simple, though maybe requires a bit of discipline. The sources mandate a straightforward practice. You have to audit your subscriptions every single month.
Every month? Really?
Every month. And cancel anything you haven't actively used in the last, say, 30 days. You need to treat every renewal almost like making a new purchase decision. Ask yourself, am I getting value from this right now?
Okay, that makes sense. Be ruthless. All right, what's the next leak?
Well, let's stick with the digital world for a moment, but shift focus. This next one is driven by something different, maybe more emotional: impulse purchases and online shopping.
Ah, yes. The siren song of the one-click checkout. Or the notification that a flash sale just started. Or that limited time offer banner that creates this panic. It's like, if you don't buy it right now, you've missed out big time.
That urgency you mentioned, that's the enemy of saving. And this impulse behavior, it's actually responsible for even more overspending than subscriptions, according to the data.
Really? More than $200 a month?
Significantly more. The studies compiled in the material show Americans waste a shocking $400 to $500 per month just on these instant, often emotional purchases. This is where the feeling of the moment completely overrides any long-term financial thinking.
Okay, $500 a month is huge. We definitely need some kind of psychological defense against that immediate urge to click buy. What do the sources suggest to break that cycle?
The main recommendation is something called the 24-hour rule. It's simple but incredibly powerful.
Okay, how does it work?
If it's anything non-essential, basically, anything you weren't actively planning to buy 5 minutes ago, You must wait a full 24 hours before actually purchasing it.
Ah, so you let the initial excitement wear off.
Precisely. The idea is to let that novelty fade and give your logical brain a chance to step back in. If you still genuinely want it or, importantly, need it the next day, okay, fine. But often, you won't. And if not, congratulations, you just potentially saved yourself part of that $500 this month.
That's brilliant. Simple, but I can see how effective that would be. Okay, so moving away from the purely digital world, let's talk about the daily grind, the classic convenience tax. Daily coffee and eating out.
Yes. This isn't just a small leak for many people. This can be a major hemorrhage in the budget.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And when we connect this to the bigger picture, it really comes down to recurrence and habit, doesn't it? Let's just take that daily caffeine fix, for example, or regular latte, maybe $5 or $6.
Easily. Sometimes more, depending on where you go.
Right, so do that 5 times a week, and boom, you're instantly looking at over $100 per month just on coffee.
Just coffee. And then there's dining out, which has got to be even higher. That $1,500 potential waste figure starts to make a lot more sense when you look at the food budget numbers.
It really does. The sources we reviewed indicate the average American family spends somewhere around $600 to $700 a month on fast food and casual dining.
Wow, $600 to $700. Is that really a typical average? That feels incredibly high.
It is high, but remember, that often includes quick lunches grabbed during the workday, delivery fees which add up fast, weekend takeout. It's the cost of convenience, and the sources clearly show that convenience costs a staggering premium compared to making food at home.
So the fix here is pretty obvious, even if it's sometimes hard to implement with busy schedules. It's cooking at home more, maybe doing some meal prepping on the weekend.
Or even just making your coffee before you walk out the door in the morning. Simple stuff.
Right. And the sources estimate these small changes alone could save you well over $1,000 a year, maybe much more. And that's money that wasn't even really being spent on like gourmet enjoyment, just convenience.
Exactly. And that focus on unused commitments leads us pretty smoothly to another big one, which we could maybe call the tax on good intentions. Gym memberships.
Oh, this is a classic.
It really is. It's genuinely shocking. A statistic is that 1 in 5 Americans pay for a gym they rarely, if ever, use. You know the story. Sign up with the best intentions on January 1st.
And by February, life gets in the way and you just keep paying. The perpetual absentee tax.
That's a good way to put it. And the data shows the average cost is typically around $50 to $100 per month. So people are literally throwing away $600 to $1,200 a year on access to facilities they never actually step foot in. It's a perfect example of that recurring mindless waste.
So what's the smarter approach here, according to the sources?
It's about shifting your perspective, really. Instead of paying for a physical location you don't go to, utilize options that fit your actual lifestyle. Maybe that's home workouts. Maybe it's using free or cheaper fitness apps like Nike Training or Freeletics. The point is, only pay for the fitness activity you actually do.
Makes sense. Okay, this next one feels different. It's where things get, as you said, really interesting because we're moving beyond just discretionary stuff into, well, systematic penalty costs. Let's talk about credit card interest and late fees.
Yes, this isn't about choosing a want. This is money that just vanishes into the financial system itself. It's pure cost with zero benefit.
And it raises a big question. Why are people willing to absorb these really high costs?
Well, we need to look at the pretty brutal financial reality of carrying credit card balances. Average interest rates, the APRs, are hovering alarmingly high right now, somewhere between 18 and 22%, sometimes even higher.
Ouch.
Yeah. So if you carry high balances, or worse, only make those minimum payments each month, the things you bought become incredibly expensive over time. You're essentially just wasting money on finance charges that provide absolutely zero value back to you.
And that waste is systematic, isn't it? Unlike maybe forgetting a subscription, this actively works against everything else you might be trying to save or invest. So what's the non-negotiable solution here from the sources?
The mandate from the research is crystal clear. You absolutely must aim to pay your full statement balance every single month, period.
Okay.
And to avoid those completely preventable late fees, which are just the ultimate waste on top of the interest, set up autopay for at least the minimum payment. Ideally, the full statement balance, if you can trust yourself not to overspend. That autopay feature is like a simple technical shield against just throwing money away on penalties you didn't need to incur.
Got it. Autopay and full balance. Now, let's connect that idea of financial penalties to the other side of consumer pressure. Tech obsession.
Ah, the upgrade cycle.
Exactly. That constant desire, maybe pressure, to replace perfectly good devices, the new iPhone, the latest laptop, basically every time a shiny new model gets announced.
This is pure FOMO, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fear of missing out translated directly into a massive consumer spending cycle.
But hang on, isn't some of that replacement necessary sometimes, like for work requirements or security updates becoming unavailable for older models? Are these sources distinguishing between necessary upgrades and just true FOMO?
That's a fair point. The figures we saw seem to specifically target the FOMO factor. The material indicates many Americans spend somewhere in the range of $400 to $600 annually, replacing devices that still work perfectly fine.
Okay.
They're upgrading just to keep up with marginal improvements or the latest trends. It's like replacing a phone because the new camera is maybe 10% better, not because the old one actually stopped working or became unusable.
Right. So what are the recommended fixes then to break free from that constant annual upgrade pressure?
It boils down to a few things. Wait for genuine deals or sales if you do need something. Consider buying certified refurbished products. They often come with warranties and are much cheaper. Or perhaps the simplest advice. Just commit to using the devices you already own until they actually need replacement. Don't let the marketing cycles dictate your spending habits.
Use it till it breaks, basically. Good advice. Okay, finally, let's hit the last major leak identified in the sources. Brand obsession.
Right. Spending potentially thousands on status symbols. Designer clothes, handbags, fancy shoes, where a big part of the cost is purely driven by the logo or the perceived status it brings.
This feels like another psychological leak, doesn't it? Paying a premium for how you think something makes you look to others rather than its actual function or quality.
Exactly. And the research suggests people really do spend thousands on these kinds of symbols annually.
So what's the financially smarter alternative approach that the research recommends here?
It's pretty straightforward. Focus on quality over the logo. The idea is that one really well-made, durable item that might last you a decade is ultimately better both financially and practically than buying 5 cheaper branded items that fall apart after a year or two.
Right. Look for things that do the job well, not things that just advertise a brand.
Precisely. Look for items that serve their intended function effectively, not items that primarily serve a marketing campaign.
Okay. So let's try to wrap this all up. We've identified, 8 massive leaks here, potentially adding up to that $1,500 a month figure. Digital subscriptions, impulse buys online, eating out too much, unused gym fees, credit card interest and penalties, constant tech upgrades, and brand obsession. Whew, that's a lot. Now we need the consolidated action plan. How do we actually stop the bleeding?
Okay, let's lay out the foundational steps for you, the listener, based on everything we've discussed.
Yeah.
Step 1, and this is non-negotiable, you must track every single expense.
Yeah.
Meticulously.
Apps, spreadsheet.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Use apps like Mint, YNA, maybe Empower Personal Dashboard, or even just a simple spreadsheet. The tool doesn't matter as much as the habit. The core principle is, if you don't measure it, you simply cannot manage it effectively.
Okay, track everything. Got it. Step 2.
Step 2, budget wisely. The sources consistently recommend using a framework like the classic 5-30-20 rule.
Remind us how that works.
Sure. It means allocating roughly 50% of your after-tax income to needs, things like housing, utilities, essential groceries, transportation. Then 30% goes towards wants. That's where most of the leaks we discussed today fall. Dining out, entertainment, subscriptions, shopping. And crucially, the remaining 20% should be consistently routed towards savings and investments or paying down debt aggressively.
50 needs, 30 wants, 20 savings. Okay. And then applying that to the specific leaks.
Yes, summarizing the specific habits that seem to move the needle the most based on the data. Definitely audit those subscriptions monthly. Make a real effort to cook more meals at home. Implement that 24-hour rule for any non-essential online shopping. And absolutely critical, pay off those credit cards in full every single statement cycle.
Right. So if we connect all this back to the big picture, following these steps consistently, it really could save you, what did the source suggest? $5,000 to $10,000 per year.
Easily. Just through making these conscious lifestyle adjustments and plugging those recurring leaks we identified, suddenly that potential $1,500 a month leak feels very real, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But the good news is now we have a clear blueprint for stopping that waste.
Absolutely. It feels much more manageable broken down like this.
Definitely. And understanding where the money is leaking out is always the critical first step.
Yeah.
You've potentially reclaimed thousands of dollars annually just by adjusting these habits. But this naturally raises an important question for long-term financial health.
Which has?
Well, once you successfully plug these holes in your budget, how do you then actively boost your cash flow even further? Stopping the leaks is step 1, but growing the income is step 2, right?
Okay. So the source material actually suggests the natural next step on this financial journey involves looking into ways to actively make extra income, specifically exploring things like income acceleration methods. They mentioned looking into the best side hustles in 2025. That provides a path to boost your cash flow beyond just cutting costs.
Exactly. Build on the savings.
So this raises a really interesting question for you, the listener, to think about. Once you've successfully saved that potential $5,000, maybe $10,000, through this kind of financial discipline, how quickly could adding a high-impact side hustle amplify that amount and maybe fundamentally change your whole financial trajectory? Something to ponder.
It really is. Valuable knowledge like this really requires action, though.
Yeah.
We genuinely hope this deep dive encourages everyone listening to start reviewing their own spending habits, maybe starting today, and begin the process of reclaiming some of that lost $1,500.